MTG Scoundrels. It's in the cardboard.
Ladies and gentlemen, scoundrels of all ages, welcome back to another episode of Modern Weekly. Today on the docket, we have Birthing Ritual Goblins versus Boros Energy, and of course, my low voice. Both players looking at 7. Boros Energy, in fact, really becoming the Jund of the format. And it looks like Boros Energy is going to be on 6. And so is Ritual Goblins. Arid Mesa and Pass. Cavernous Souls on Goblin. And to the new Mud Button Curse Tosser. And we will have a card revealed here for the Behold cost of an Ignoble Hierarch and passing the turn. Arid Mesa getting cracked here, probably finding an Elegant Parlor. Yep, there it is. Surveil incoming. And putting the Guide of Souls to the bin. That probably means one in hand here. There's an Arena of Glory and a Voice of Victory. Passing the turn. Bloodstained Mire getting cracked. Got a few options here, probably dependent on what the follow-up play is. Oh, looks like an untapped Stomping Ground going to 17 and 19. Casting a Birthing Ritual. Well, actually deciding to attack in with the Curse Tosser here. I thought for a second they wanted to... Well, yep. Looks like they'll trade thanks to the Mud Button Curse Tosser's ability. But that does stop the Birthing Ritual trigger, which is probably unfortunate for the Goblin player. Here's an Ajani Nakatl Pariah. I'll come in with a 2/1 cat. Bloodstained Mire for land for turn. That'll get cracked. Looks like going to 14. Finding a Blood Crypt. One mana for an Ignoble Hierarch. 2 mana for a Munitions Expert. ETB going to target the Ajani to deal damage equal to the number of goblins. And it looks like Boros Energy is going to go ahead and crack their Marsh Flats here. Finding an untapped Steam Vents. That'll bring us to 14 to 16. This probably means a removal spell is on the way. There it is. There's a galvanic discharge. Looks like targeting the ignoble hierarch here. So only this is in response to the ETB. Or the cast at least. Probably to the cast. So only dealing 1 damage to the Ajani. Oh, looks like there's another munitions expert in the Birthing Ritual trigger here. So that's going to come in, deal the other damage to the Ajani. Take care of that. This is not a bad spot for the Ritual Goblins player. The Boros Energy player hasn't been able to get the board to the state they'd like it to be in. Two mana. Here's a dashed Ragavan. And attacking in. The munitions expert going to get in the way of that Ragavan. So just taking 2 there. Oh, and there is a Bogart Trawler. Well timed, ultimately, if there was a Flage in hand. Trigger on end step. Finding Grub Storied Matriarch here. So that's going to get back the munitions expert, but that's going to go to hand. So that cat should still be on the battlefield. Untapping and drawing. And there is the Flage. That's going to deal with Grub. So that puts us to 12 to 19. Then a cat getting in here. Bring us to 9 to 19. Here's a Mud Button Curse Tosser. That has to reveal a Goblin. I guess it's just going to reveal this Munitions Expert, which is going to deal with that cat token. Birthing Ritual trigger here. Looking at 7 cards. Kind of wild how strong Birthing Ritual is. And there's a Taster of Wares, another new goblin from Lorwyn Eclipsed. Sacking the Munitions Expert and getting to take Goblin Bombardment or Ajani. Exiling the Ajani here. And now Ritual Goblins is off to the races. There's the Goblin Bombardment. There's a Verdant Catacombs. That's going to get cracked. Wouldn't be surprised if just finding a basic here. Yep, there's basic Swamp. There's an Aether Vial. And a Bogart Trawler to deal with the Flage. Attacking in for 5 here. That'll bring us to 9 to 14. Birthing Ritual trigger. Sacking the Taster of Wares for the Grub Storied Matriarch, getting the Taster of Wares back. The value engine is fully online here. Boros Energy casting the Ocelot Pride. Untapping Aether Vial trigger. That Ocelot Pride does block pretty well here. Ooh, deciding to flip the Grub. That could be huge. Flipping the Grub, have a Taster of Wares in hand. Looks like there's a second Aether Vial in hand as well. Nothing in hand for the Boros Energy player. But we are going to see creatures attack in. And the Grub Storied Matriarch looks like it activated and blighted on the Mud Button Curse Tosser, which forced the hand of the Boros Energy player to sack the Ocelot Pride to kill the Grub. So 5 damage coming in here. Trigger on the end step, stacking the triggers to be able to sacrifice the Mud Button Curse Tosser if need be. And yes, going ahead and doing that, finding a Mogg War Marshal. Goblin Classic. And passing the turn from there. And a land off the top, scooping them up. Game 1, going to birthing Ritual Goblins. Thank you all so much for watching us here at MTG Scoundrels. If you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe. Be a friend, tell a friend. We appreciate all of you that have been subbing recently and tuning into our awesome channel over here. So thank you so much for that. Moving on to sideboards. Generally speaking, the Goblins deck might bring in another Champion of the Weird here, which I know, another Lorwyn Eclipse card, but if it lands early, it does have a good chance of dealing with the board of the Boros Energy player, but there's also some Plague Engineers on the board here as well to be able to ritual into. I would definitely expect the Ritual Goblins player to hopefully play more into Ignoble Hierarch and Aether Vial in Game 2. Specifically because Blood Moon is a thing, and Boros Energy probably bringing in an extra copy of it. Because it is pretty good in this matchup. As long as you hit it before Aether Vial can get online, Ignoble Hierarch can hit the board, or before Ritual Goblins decides to fetch a basic. Because it is a bit of a mana-heavy deck, or mana-hungry deck, excuse me. And Boros Energy here, as we mentioned, Blood Moon coming in more than likely. Maybe another piece of removal or two. Wear Tear, a possibility as well. specifically being able to deal with Aether Vial or the Birthing Ritual. Moving on to our ads, definitely check out our friends over at Arcane Artistry. They make wonderful food, clue, and treasure tokens in the stained glass style. They're made out of acrylic and they are wonderful pieces for anybody's collection. They've been featured over on EDH Hijinks as well as the Spike Feeders. So definitely check them out. Etsy link in the description below. And of course, we're sponsored by hosts of our channel, Grove Warden Games, a wonderful place to storm out. Link to their store in the description below. And definitely check out artists of our channel, Sean Gerard, that make wonderful art. And you can definitely tell that things have been upgraded a little bit into our past videos thanks to Sean's art. Make it to where we're not reusing the same art over and over again as much as we were. So appreciate Sean. Etsy link, or excuse me, Instagram on the screen, email in the description below, open to new projects. And last but not least, check out our socials. We are at MTGScoundrels over on Blue Sky, Twitter, and Facebook. Most active over on Blue Sky. Come over, say hello. We are more than willing and happy to interact with you guys about the modern format and Magic the Gathering in general. So definitely check us out there and leave us a comment below letting us know what decks you would like to see in the future or what videos you want to see about the modern format heading in to RCQ season. And with that, it's time to move on to game number 2. All right, here we are. Moving on to game number 2. Looks like Boros Energy looking at 6, or looking to keep 6 here. And will do so, with Goblins still being on 7. But Boros Energy on the play, starting out with a Flooded Strand and passing. Bloodstained Mire getting cracked. Looks like going to 17. Be interesting to see what this hand brings. Finding a Blood Crypt. And there is a Mud Button Curse Tosser, revealing the Mogg War Marshal and passing. Flooded Strand going to get cracked on the end step. Probably finding an Elegant Parlor here. Yes, indeed. Surveil incoming. Keeping it top. Another Flooded Strand. And passing. No turn 1 play, no turn 2 play. Oh, there is a Phyrexian Tower. So that gives a free sack outlet to the Goblins player for that Mud Button Curse Tosser. But we're going to see a Mogg War Marshal here. Attacking him for 2. Passing the turn. Flooded Strand. Deciding not to crack it. Now gonna crack it. Finding a Plains. Having the mountain in hand. Uh-oh. There is the Blood Moon. Non-basic lands are now mountains. Let's see how much that hurts the Goblins player here. Taking a second, deciding to keep the War Marshal, paying the Echo cost. There's an expensive basic mountain, attacking in for 4. And passing the turn. Here's a Guide of Souls. Well, maybe not. Seasoned Pyromancer coming down instead. Discarding in a Johnny. And one other card. To draw 2, make 2 elementals. Another expensive basic mountain. Attacking with a Curse Tosser. Gonna take out 2 creatures with it, essentially. Passing the turn. The Curse Tosser's death dealing with the Seasoned Pyromancer. Here's a Guide of Souls. And there's a Hexing Squelcher gaining a life. So that brings us to 15 all, but if there is no Aether Vial found here, doesn't look like it. This board's about to become a little bit too much, and the Ritual Goblins player is just going to scoop them up, try to find something better in Game 3 here, as Blood Moon does the job for Boros Energy. Thank you all so much for watching us here at MTG Scoundrels. If you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe, be a friend, tell a friend. And we're going to move on here to game number 3. All right, here we are in game number 3. Looks like Ritual Goblins is on 6. Starting off with a Surveil land and passing. Commercial district, it looks like. Not the fastest of starts. In some ways, Goblins would rather be moving a bit faster. Boros Energy taking 2 off of the Sacred Foundry. Just leaving it up. Bloodstained Mire getting cracked. That's going to find a swamp. So I'll bring us to 1918. And here is a Mud Button Curse Tosser, revealing a Taster of Wares. And Lightning Bolt's going to deal with the Curse Tosser here. Here's a Guide of Souls into an Ocelot Pride. Looks like that Boros Energy player is playing some Verges in the deck. But that's going to bring us to 19 to 20 thanks to the Pride and the Cat coming in. Verdant Catacombs will be sacrificed here. Probably finding a blood crypt, yes indeed. Into a grub-storied matriarch, getting back the Mudbutton Curse Tosser. This might be a little too late, though, which is weird to say, but Boros Energy has their list online. And Ocelot Pride's going to get in here as well as a cat token. Taking 2. That'll bring us to 14 to 21. Floodastrand getting cracked. Finding a basic plains. Oh, and that is backbreaking. That is a second Ocelot Pride. Bringing it back to 14 to 21. Double Ocelot Pride. Not a lot the Goblins player can do here except for hope to hit a Plague Engineer. And that is 2 more cats coming in. Only 9 permanents so far. So still a chance. Well, if that was a Plague Engineer, that would be slammed right now. Okay, deciding... Oh, that is tough. So you could flip it, or try to establish more of a board. But you gotta think the Boros Energy player is holding up some removal to hit before combat, so that way the Curse Tosser can't be blighted. Yep, deciding not to flip it. There's a Curse Tosser beholding the grub. There's a Curse Tosser beholding a Curse Tosser. An ignoble hierarch here. So now the Goblins player has a bunch of stuff. 2 of those creatures can't block. And passing the turn. And there's the Galvanic Discharge. And that is what the Goblins player was thinking there. Establish the board instead of flipping because removal had to be in hand. But now the problem is that Ocelot Pride, at least one of them, is going to get pumped here. And gain flying. And there that is. So, that's 8 coming across. I mean, you kind of have to take it. So 3 life gained there. Oh, excuse me, 4 life gained. 23 to 27. But now the other life gain is going to begin. Now there's some layering to these Ocelot Prides. So a total of 6 cats coming in. Which is going to bring us to 6-33. And really the only out would be a Plague Engineer off the top at this point. That's a munitions expert. That's not going to do it. But there is a champion of the weird. Apologize for the flashing here. Just letting you guys know. It looks like a goblin wasn't in fact exiled, but that is okay. There is one in hand. I don't think there's any other way to cast it. So, you lose a life, you blight a Mudbutton Curse Tosser to kill the Guide of Souls. You do it again to kill the other Ocelot Pride. And that killed 2 cats. But no matter what... Oh, and there's a bolt in hand. Yeah, no matter what, there wasn't really a way out. But that is game, set, match. Going to Boros Energy. Thank you all so much for watching us here at MTG Scoundrels. If you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe. Be a friend, tell a friend. And we will see you all next week.